Hey guys, it's Anime OGsan, and first I want to apologize for the clickbaitish title of today's video. It's an accurate title though, and I couldn't think of a better one. So I was watching a YouTube video on historical facts by a channel called Side Projects, and one of the historical facts in the middle of the video was about a Nazi interrogator named Hans Scharff. While I was watching the clip, I found myself thinking more and more about "'Tis Time for Torture Princess." Of course, most of the reason is because I'm a weeb and I think about anime a lot, but also a lot of the information about Scharff's techniques seem to be reflected in the anime. I know, it's weird to think that there's some relationship between a Nazi interrogator and a Japanese comedy anime, and hopefully some of you can see where I'm coming from by the end of the video. At least one Redditor made the same connection. Let's start with the anime "'Tis Time for Torture Princess", or Hime-sama, Goumon no Jikan desu. I mentioned this anime in my week 3 review, and while it's not a groundbreaking masterpiece in any way, I am enjoying watching it. I'm usually more a fan of story-driven anime, and I thought the premise would get boring fast, but it's been great so far, and the art and animation are really solid. Princess is not only the princess of the human kingdom, she's also the commander of the Third Order of the Imperial Army, which she references often as she dares them to try to get any information out of her. On the battlefield, she's a badass, but somehow she is captured by the demons, and they subject her to all sorts of tortures in order to get her to spill secrets to help the Demon King's army, translated for some reason as the Hell Horde, get an edge. This is really where the story begins. Who was Hans Scharff? He was a Nazi interrogator for the German Air Force during World War II. He was known as the Master Interrogator of the Luftwaffe, and his nicknames included Poker Face and Stone Face. He was so effective, he was the guy you called when the regular interrogator was having trouble. Based on this description and what you might know about the Second World War, he sounds like a scary guy, right? Well, he wasn't. In fact, he was probably the exact opposite of what you're imagining. He was opposed to using physical means to torture prisoners. No jumper cables to the nipples, no thwacking the balls, no waterboarding, no plucking off fingernails, not even tying prisoners up to a chair and slapping them around. What did he do? He treated the POWs like friends. He was the good cop with the situation being the bad cop. I've been interrogated by the cops once before in a case of mistaken identity, and the good cop got me to share things very easily, even though I knew what was happening. Of course, it didn't matter because I didn't do it, but I acknowledge the power of having someone friendly to talk to when you're physically and emotionally drained. In the anime, the primary interrogator is named Tortura, Grand Inquisitor of the Hell Horde. She's usually the one who delivers the catchline.
Hime-sama, Goumon no Jikan desu.
Like Scharff, she does her research and devises novel ways to make the princess talk, building on her knowledge and understanding of princesses' psychology. She also utilizes the support from an additional cast of interrogators, including Yoki and Inki, the young Oni sisters, well, actually cousins, Crawl, the beast tamer, Giant, Master Mama, and Mao Mao, the Hell Lord's daughter, among others. So what were Scharff's tactics? Knowing that the prisoners were suffering from isolation and fear of being turned over to the Gestapo, he got them to let down their guard by acting as if he was their advocate and friend through some very mundane but unexpected means. Here are some of the things he did. He gave them homemade food. He even gave them alcohol. He took them on walks in the woods. He arranged tea parties with German pilots. He took them to swimming pool excursions. And he let them visit their comrades in the hospital. The anime doesn't mimic Scharff's tactics completely, and there is more of a torture aspect, enticing the princess with good things until she talks. But the friendship aspect is there. There are kindnesses during the torture sessions, and the interrogators let the princess fully enjoy the rewards after she talks. This is effective because Princess was basically bred for the position of military commander, and she never really had a childhood or friends. So what happened to Scharff after the end of the war? He was invited to the US to testify against the American traitor Lieutenant Martin J. Monty, where he met various military officials and was invited to lecture about his interrogation techniques to the US military. He moved to the US and started up a successful mosaic business, responsible for the Cinderella mosaic at Disney World, with a replica at Tokyo Disneyland. The US military started incorporating his techniques into their curriculum, and some are still taught today. I don't know how much of the manga was inspired by Scharff's story, and it could just be the fact that his tactics have become part of the interrogator's toolkit, but I suspect that the mangaka, Haruhara Robinson, might have read about Scharff and based the story on various aspects of his account. It's just a theory.